Hello, my name is Carissa Gant, and I want to spend a few minutes talking to you about virtual presence. Before I jump in, just a little bit about me. I'm a change management practitioner with over 25 years' experience. My work has always been about getting teams and organizations and companies to work in new ways, at the same time taking care of the employee experience. I'm sure you're wondering, what does change management and employee experiences have to do with virtual presence? It has everything to do with virtual presence in my world. In 2020, most of us were forced to work from home. Immediately, we learned how to use video conferencing technically. This was great for keeping teams connected, the work moving forward, and businesses thriving. In fact, there's research that estimates there's about 55 million meetings every day in the US. But this didn't mean that we're using our video conferencing tools effectively. Bringing you back to my change management background, and I want to use a change methodology to help you get from average to outstanding with your virtual calls. So, why is this so important? It's because working remotely doesn't allow us to connect with people in the hallway. There isn't the same interaction of running to a colleague in the break room. We have very few non work moments with coworkers. So, my approach to virtual presence has two key components. How are you showing up, both with audio and video? And how are you making a human connection? Yes, it's about knowing your content. We know that. But your content is only as good as your presenter. You know how many of us will look at a slide and hope that the presenter is going to hit it out of the park, right? They're going to wow you with a story. And after a few moments, you realize there's a very monotone voice and a faceless person presenting material to you. And I'm sure you find yourself checking your email and half tuning in, right? Well, we don't want this to happen to you. So, first, how are you showing up? You got to do it on camera. To have virtual presence, you must be present, right? So, turn on your camera. Yes, it's uncomfortable for the first time, but I promise it gets easier every time you do it. With your camera on, you'll find yourself paying more attention. And that means the meeting attendees are going to pay more attention to you. Make eye contact, even if it's over video. It matters. This part of making connections and experience, this is part of what I had mentioned earlier in this conversation. So the other part, make sure you're showing up squarely in that screen, right? Not off to the side, not down low, but squarely in the middle of your screen. So make sure your camera is on and don't multitask, right? People know when you're doing this. You're not fooling anybody. And when your camera is off, people know you're only partially paying attention. So now that we understand camera being on, test the quality of your audio. If they can't hear you or hear you clearly, you really aren't present. So test your microphones. Pretty easy. Record yourself. Make sure that there's no background noise. Once you have your camera on, you're making eye contact. Remind yourself to look at that camera every 5 seconds or so. Think of your camera as one of your meeting attendees. It's a small shift that can have a huge difference in how you connect. And now we need to have intentional connections while we're having virtual presence. This may feel hard, but there are two simple tips. If possible, join a meeting 1 minute early. This gives you a moment to connect with people before the meeting begins. Another suggestion is to ask a lighthearted question to connect the group. What did everyone eat for breakfast? Or what's your favorite vacation spot? It doesn't need to be deep and it doesn't have to take up half your call. 2 minutes, welcome, 2 minutes of a warm welcome can quickly change the energy and the dynamics on a call. So I started this conversation with, I'm a change management practitioner. And it is with that lens, I'm going to share my thoughts on virtual presence. ADKAR: awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. That is an acronym that we use throughout our change management practice. So, starting with awareness, how aware are you about how you show up on virtual calls, right? Take a moment to do that inventory. D for desire. Find your reason to put energy into learning what it means to have virtual presence for you. This should matter. Knowledge. Do you know what you need to change? right? Learn what you need to do to amp up how you show up. Is your audio clear? Is my camera clean? Am I centered in the screen? And do I know how to confidently use my video conferencing system? And then with that, do you do it consistently? Show up to every meeting with your camera on. It makes a clear statement: I am present. The more you show up, the more people will want to connect. And then watch your world slowly expand. People will follow where you lead. If you're a full-time remote working employee, these virtual meetings are your only experience with the colleagues that work with you. Make them meaningful, make them impactful, make them count. Thank you for spending a few moments with me talking about virtual presence. If you want to learn more about me, please feel free to connect on LinkedIn. Again, my name is Carissa Gant, and I'm here to help make the changes you want to see. Thank you.